Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 XBL review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Metal Slug XX, which if you've never played it before, is a side-scrolling action game, and it's basically the 7th main Metal Slug, I suppose, because obviously there was 1, 2, then X, etc. And this is basically the 7th one, only it's much upgraded, because the original 7 I don't even think had a co-op mode, it was DS exclusive, and from what I've heard it was pretty shoddy and naff. So this is the remake, upgrade type thing. And it's got a whole heap of shit. If you've never played a Metal Slug game, then usually they're renowned for just having a short, quick campaign that you can beat in 30 minutes, which is still true to this one, but then this one's got a whole host of other stuff, like the combat skill. You've got a full POV list, which one of the achievements is actually getting that list complete and getting all the things. There's DLC, but there might as well not be. It's one character which you can unlock, which is built into the game. It's incredibly annoying that they've done that, because I don't understand why you would bother putting DLC up for one character that's built into the game. And pretty much everything else is explanatory, like leaderboards, Xbox Live, because you can play it online. Help and options is very basic, you can customise your controls and that. So I suppose on the combat skill first, because it's the new thing here. Basically, over the combat skill, there are an absolute ton of missions, and the missions are all sorts of things, like see how many levels you can beat without dying, see how many, like how fast it takes you to beat a level, etc, etc, and there's just tons of them. I mean, as you can see going through the list here, there really are quite a lot, and they'll take you quite a while if you're into that sort of thing. I personally am not. I've tried a couple, I've really hated them, and I just don't see what the appeal of them is, really, because as I see it, it's just like beating a mission without dying and things like that. So, anyway, into the actual gameplay. It's still 2-player co-op, it's only 2-player co-op though, there's no 4-player or anything, which is a bit of a shame. And there's 7 characters to choose from if you've bought the DLC, which is Leona. And, well, each character has different specialities. So, Marco here is best at handling the handgun. Eri, my favourite, as she's always been my favourite on Metal Slug games, don't know why. She's fantastic with grenades, and she actually gets more. Ralph is great with, what's he great with? I've never played as him before. He carries little ammo, but can take down enemies with a single punch. Leona is fantastic with close quarters combat, but she's also got cool grenades that no one else has. Clark, again, I've not played as, but the others basically have different stats, so let's choose Eri, because at least I know what I'm doing with her. Although I will show off Leona purely because she's the one that you don't get as standard. There's 7 missions, and it's one of those, it is like a regular Metal Slug game. You can beat the game in half an hour if you try. The first time I beat it, I'd done it in about 40 minutes. The second time was on co-op, and it actually took us longer, somehow, by about 5 minutes. And the third time I beat it, which funnily enough was last night, was 35 minutes. So it's one of those. It's not the longest of games, but it is one of the most replayable, because it is just so much fun, especially discovering all the different pathways and finding all the secrets and that. It's just one of those games, really, that if you like them, you'll find reasons to play it again and again. The weapon system is pretty much the same as always on a Metal Slug game. There's tons of weapons to get. There's things like swords, double Uzis, laser guns, rockets, just things like that, and the whole point is rescuing soldiers and killing certain enemies will get you those weapons. You can hold 2 at any one time, and also the handgun, so technically hold 3, and you can swap between them by pushing buttons. However, if you're on beginner mode, you always start with a machine gun, which is pretty cool. It's one of those. It's got infinite ammo as well, and it is there purely for beginners, or if you just don't have enough time to really go through the full games, because you can do the beginner mode somehow in 5 minutes. I personally think that's a glitch, but on the Xbox leaderboard, someone has managed to beat the game in 5 minutes on beginner. So, anyway, it's just one of those that, whatever difficulty you put it on, either way the game's not that hard, because it's got infinite continues, but that's because it's an arcade game. And it's one of those, the minimum amount of continues it's ever taken me to beat this so far is 35. So it still can get pretty gritty. You will be finding yourself dying all the time. It's just one of those that, unless you're going for the achievements, then you're not really going to be concentrating about losing lives, because you know the safety net's always there. But Metal Slug's never exactly really been about the hardcore, it's been about the have fun with a mate. And that's exactly what this does. It is insane amounts of fun on co-op, not as good on 1 player, and as you can beat the game in 30 minutes, then it's one of those that 1200 points is probably the right price, because I actually bought the game on the PSP. It's the exact same game on the PSP, only I stupidly bought the American version, which means I can't access the DLC because the PSP, while it's region free, doesn't allow you to, well, use region free DLC. So it's one of those. I feel a bit ripped off that I paid £24 for it when it came out on the PSP, and 1200 points is definitely more reasonable, but in all honesty, it's the type of thing that you might be best off waiting for a sale, unless you are a Metal Slug nut and you've only just found out about it. Then get it, because it's just as good as the others. The whole point is, though, to go left and right in a Metal Slug game, kick the crap out of all the enemies, get into some really cool Metal Slugs, whether it's tanks or ostriches, and kill the boss at the end of the level, then go on to the next one, and you rinse and repeat for all 7 levels. So, not really much actually left to say about the game, other than that graphically it looks fantastic. It really does. One of those things that I've always liked 2D visuals over 3D visuals for certain things, and this is one of them that really does shine on 2D, especially with HD, because the animations are fantastic. It's the best of Metal Slug games ever looked, and musically, well, it's your standard Metal Slug music, so I'll shut up and let you listen to some. I suppose really the only downside to this game is the fact that I honestly don't like playing them with an analog. It's why I bought the PSP version, because that's got a pretty good D-pad, and it's why, had it been on the PSN instead of the Live Arcade, I would have bought it on that. But in all honesty, the console I would have preferred to buy it on is the Wii, because this is the thing that really does my head in with Wii games. They scream easy games that you can play with a family that aren't taxing and things like that. Whenever I hear that, I honestly do think Metal Slug. So why is it that Metal Slug 7 wasn't available on the WiiWare service when 1 and 2 were available on the VC, and the VC's crying for the others to be released? These are the sort of casual games that I don't mind, because they're made well, they've got a degree of challenge in there if you want them to be challenging. Hell, the achievement to beat the game without losing a continue is surely challenging, because I've never been able to do it, and I don't know anyone who has been able to get it. If you have been, you are a legend. That is pretty much all I can say. So it really does my head in that so far this game's only available on the Xbox, because the pad design for it just isn't matched well. The level with the ostriches I always find really hard on the Xbox compared to the PSP, because I don't find the buttons responsive enough and I end up jumping down a hole and dying. So controller is pretty much the only thing that stops me from saying that this is one of the best games on the arcade, because it could be better. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.